Yeah, so today we are with Dave Rogenmoser. He's the CEO and co-founder of Proof. That's right.
Yep.
Cool. Well, welcome to the summit.
Thank you. Good to be here, man.
All
Excited to
right.
chat SaaS.
Yeah, let's chat about SaaS. Maybe we could start by you introducing us a little bit to what your SaaS is and what you do.
Yeah. So again, my name is Dave. I've been working with my two co-founders, Chris and JP, for about 5 years now. And about 2.5 years ago, we launched Proof with the goal of increasing transparency with online sales, but also increasing conversion rate for companies who sell things online. And so what Proof does is we help businesses increase conversion rate by showing social proof notifications. It's kind of been our traditional product that we've had for the last couple of years. And then as of recently, we are launching new products around the idea of personalization and how do we create these delightful experiences that wow your visitors, create more relevance for them, and ultimately drive more sales for the company by just doing really good on-site marketing. So you'll see us talking more and more about that over the coming years.
Awesome. So we got a few different avenues we can explore on. We're going to try to explore as much as possible. Let's start with your client base, if you're comfortable talking about that. What proportion would you say SaaS versus e-commerce versus other type of industries?
Yeah, so we've got about 3,000 customers. We started out really targeting info marketers and webinars and just membership sites and that kind of whole space. That's like where we were. Recently, we started transitioning more into SaaS, like building out specific features, segment integrations, or working on single page apps, or just tools and things that, SaaS companies need. And now I'd say we've probably got 300 or 400 SaaS companies and moving, heavily that direction.
Do you see, well, are the SaaS businesses more into enterprise sale, or is it still SMB? Type of businesses?
It's more SMB, just that's kind of been what we've known. We've actually never done sales until recently and like gotten on phone calls and done demos until recently. So just kind of we've maybe intentionally or unintentionally been kind of like deflecting, the bigger companies. But now really our target that we're trying to move into is more mid-market SaaS companies.
Got it. Okay, cool. Dave, you've been to quite a few programs in the past. I'm switching gear a little bit, and of course, we shared one of those programs, which was the Foundation. You've also been to Y Combinator, if I'm right, and also Dan Martell, special SaaS group as well. How were each of those steps instrumental to Proof, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like a professional testimonial. I remember like early on, I was like, one of my growth strategies is like, I'm going to be the best testimonial for all these programs as I can, because then they're going to like pub me and get me out there and all that.
That's it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a big fan of like just enrolling in programs, getting coaches, like diving in on those things. And some have been, life-changing. Some have been, worth the money, but just because I got a few, tips and tricks and a few ideas. With the business, it's not hard to get your money back on something like that, even just with, one or two ideas or one or two connections. So yeah, the Foundation, was kind of the first program that I ever did back when I first started as an entrepreneur. And I think a lot of people have that story. Again, that's kind of your story, I think. But yeah, joining that was kind of like a life-changing, way of like looking at the world and got me first interested in SaaS. The problem for me was I ran out of money, and I kind of got the SaaS built on Upwork, and it was this fraternity recruitment software built on Ruby on Rails, because that's what Dane said. Everyone's supposed to build theirs on Ruby on Rails.
Hey, nothing against that. I got my own
nothing against that. Nothing against that. But it's just like, of course, like I'm like, it's got to be Ruby on Rails, and I didn't know anything. And so it's like, built there, and then but basically ran out of money because I was just this guy working another job. And so I switched to consulting and started doing more marketing consulting because I needed to get cash, but also I didn't really know how to grow a business. I didn't know how to like get customers for my SaaS.
And I always thought I stumbled on Proof, right, while doing that.
Yeah. So I was doing consulting, and then I started like running my own info business and, selling courses and trainings, and the whole time getting really good at marketing, but also learning a lot more about conversion rate optimization. And that's where kind of Proof came out, was as we were selling courses and doing coaching, our Facebook ad costs kept going up. So we're making less and less money, per webinar, per course sale. We need to figure out how to get an edge. But at the same time, our competition was lying. We'd look around and we'd see competitors selling similar courses and lying about the results or lying about how many people were buying and all that. And we thought it'd be really nice to know if what they were saying was actually true. And so,
so you use proof as a spying on competitor kind of.
Well, I just thought you could kind of do that, but mostly just like from a visitor standpoint, I was like, these people just don't know who's actually telling the truth or who's not.
Right, sure.
And so proof kind of solved two problems. One, it gave you an edge and it helped you increase conversion rates. I think the first test we ran, it went from our conversion rate on our order form went from 19% to 42%, so more than doubled. So it gave us an edge there, but also it was like more honest and more transparent. We liked the idea of that. And that was kind of how proof launched. We launched that. It really took off quickly. And we kind of shifted all of our momentum and all of our energy from courses and trainings into software.
Yeah, so that was like 2.5 years ago. Then why did you decide to go to Y Combinator instead of just growing it on your own?
Yeah, so we'd always been like really big on bootstrapped, and like that was kind of, how we knew to grow a business. We're going to run a webinar to a self-liquidating offer. We're going to make our money back, kind of grow from there. But I think we wanted to also grow like a great SaaS company, and I didn't know how to do that. And so my MO is to go find the group or find the people that do know how to do that and like learn from them. And so Y Combinator is just one of the groups that we had been watching and seeing. We looked at a lot of the companies that had gone through there and said, okay, we'd like to be like that someday. Let's go see if we can get in, and kind of set the goal to go do that. We applied about a month after Proof launched, and we had about $5,000 MRR at the time. And we got in, we got to the interview stage, and about 12,000 people apply. About 300 fly out for a 10-minute interview, and then about 150 of those get accepted.
10 minutes,
yeah. So we flew out for this 10-minute interview, and I'm like, I got all my little metrics dialed in. I got my trial conversion rate, and I got, the MRR and the customer, all these different little things.
Better not screwing it up, after X amount of hours flying.
Totally. And I walk into the interview, and it was the creator of Gmail was there, Paul Buchheit. And I looked that up right before, and I was like, oh, who's Paul Buchheit? Oh, the creator of Gmail. Great.
No big deal.
Yeah. And one of the first questions they asked, and really the only question they asked us was, how does this become a $1 billion company? And I hadn't even thought about that at all. Like I was just trying to just hook up Stripe to an order form and make a little money, let alone like, he's like, how does this disrupt Shopify someday? And that was like a really new concept for me. And I really liked that. And I kind of stumbled my way through the answer. We finished the interview. They tell you that night. So we're waiting for like the phone call that night. You get a phone call if you get in. You get an email if you get rejected. And we're waiting, and finally got an email from Michael Seibel, the CEO, saying, hey, Dave, like the team, like the product. We feel like you didn't have a vision for like where this is going past this. We'd love for you to kind of think about that, develop that, and come back in 6 months and apply again. And so we were disappointed, but we felt like we didn't need Y Combinator. So kind of really got to thinking about that. And
that's right. If you can't join them, then screw them, right?
Yeah, totally. I'm going to create my own Y Combinator. But yeah, just kind of thought through that, a little bit more, talked to Michael Seibel on a phone call one time, to kind of get his feedback, and then ultimately came back and we pitched this idea of using social proof initially, but then turning into full funnel personalization and personalizing the entire website for conversion. That was kind of our like big $1 billion idea. And so by that point, we were at like 75K MRR. So like really grew quickly in 6 months, came back and pitched that and ended up getting in. And Y Combinator was a great thing. I mean, I loved it. I think it was well worth it for us. That's kind of the question everybody asks us is, is Y Combinator worth it? I don't know about everybody else, but it was so worth it for us. I mean, it was a no-brainer, for our business, I think.
What was some of the key learnings that you had?
I think some of like the learnings, well, one, you can get the learnings online. They put everything online, for free in their startup school. And so any of that, you can get online. I think some of the, like,
maybe some of the insights.
Yeah. Some of the insights, they pushed over and over are, make something people want. That's like the slogan of Y Combinator. And it's so key. Like if you do that, you can't really lose. If you don't do that, you can't really win. So it all starts with making something that people want. Talking to customers, is just a huge value. It's just get out there, talk to customers, build what they want, talk to customers, build what they want. And then I do love the idea. Like, I don't think you have to have a $1 billion company. I don't think there's anything better about that than a smaller company. It's just kind of, one of the options, but they just push you to think like that. And so it at least
Got it.
becomes an option. And it's like, proof may stop short at $100 million company or a $20 million company or whatever we want to do with it. But at least I think like our new ceiling is like, okay, we do have some ideas around how this could become a $1 billion company someday. And like I was in a office hours with Paul, the
Yep.
Gmail guy, and the whole office hours was around how to create $100 million company. And he kind of just brainstorms with you for a half an hour, and he just kind of like pushes you to think like, how could this disrupt Google? How could this be the next Facebook? It's just like a really interesting thought exercise to actually play it all the way out to that size. And like, again, I don't know if I even care about growing it that big. But I love
But it
having
seems like the
I love
exercise was
thinking about
fun.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Totally.
just coming back a little bit, at some point you say, go and talk to your customer, which a lot of people just recognize that, yeah, sure, that's what we need to do. Can you tell us a little bit about the tactics and strategies that you use to actually get to that point? Like, was it easy actually to get to talk to your customers? I presume as well at this point, you probably didn't really narrow down your exact persona of people you need to talk to. So how did you go about doing that?
Yes, maybe I'll use an example. Like right now, we're coming out with this brand new product called Smart Journeys. And so I've really been going through the entire product development cycle from scratch again. So it feels like I'm starting another startup right now. So I'm kind of thinking through all of this, fresh in my mind. But so I think one of the advantages we have is that we kind of are our customer. And so, I'm a marketer at a SaaS company and I think about marketing. I love marketing. And so I really know what I'm looking for. I think that can be a big advantage for companies to solve their own problem. But at the same time, it's kind of a disadvantage because sometimes I can just assume I know what the
Hmm.
customer's thinking.
Yep.
And that can keep me from actually going out there and asking them, how to do that. And so what we've been trying to do recently is we're scheduling, we're scheduling a lot of like user, what do we call them? I guess user testing.
Hmm.
What we do is we, schedule about 30 minutes. We bring in someone, and these people don't necessarily have to be in the target market. Some of them are just, people that know how to use tools and, they're marketers, but they're not necessarily B2B SaaS marketers, which we're going after.
Is it because you're testing more of a UX type of thing at
This
this
is a little bit
stage?
more UX, a little bit more,
Right.
yeah, kind of like, can they go through the flow? And we'll just sit there and
Hmm.
watch them. We'll say, hey, I want you to launch a new smart journey. Start now and just talk me through it. And we'll just kind of sit there and we'll listen, and they'll get stuck and they'll say, okay, well, what do I do at this page? And we'll say, well, let me turn that on you. Like, what are you trying to do? And they'll kind of say, well, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to launch this thing at the top of the page. And we'll say, okay, well, how do you think that you would do that? And it's really, I'm kind of the guy, I always interrupt. I always want to like show them exactly how to do it. But we've got some people on the team. They're like, Dave, you can't always tell them the answer.
Yeah, it's very uncomfortable. I've been in those sessions as well, and it hurts.
Oh, they're so brutal because I'm just watching. I'm like, dude, click the button. It's right there in the top right corner.
Oh, one quick thing I actually do is we got on our site Crisp, and I actually just watch what actually people are doing live. And I have to
Really?
constantly, prevent myself from actually, asking them or interrupting them while they're trying to do things.
What is that? Crisp.com?
Yeah, it's a sort of like intercom type of thing, but at the same time, you can actually, I think they call it like Magic Browser or something like that, and you can actually see in live what people are actually doing on your pages.
Oh,
So
interesting.
that's a small trick I've been using, especially when I'm launching my new product and the amount of the volume is not that high, so I get the luxury of going in for everyone who register and then check them out live.
Yeah. Okay, I'm checking this out right now.
And then
Crisp.chat, it looks
and
like.
then if they keep on getting like bogged down by coming one page, going back again, and so on, then I can just casually draw a line, like say, hey, if you need some help, I'm just here, glad to have you on board. Can I help you with anything?
Yeah.
So
That's
that's
good.
been pretty good.
Yeah, no, love that. Yeah, so I think those user tests have been really good. We have done a lot better job of scheduling calls with our ideal target. This mid-market B2B SaaS companies over 50 employees, but probably less than 1,000 employees is who we're trying to move into. And so we've been, scheduling calls with them. That's more like 45 minutes. It's kind of asking open-ended questions around, what are the key metrics you're trying to move? What is, who's your boss? What are they trying to move? How are you moving those right now? What are you doing with website experimentation? And then we'll kind of show them maybe in the last half we'll show them the tool, and we'll kind of ask them more questions specifically around our tool.
Can you get us through how you're actually getting them on a call? What's your process?
Just,
What does it involve?
yeah, just kind of networking. Typically, it's usually,
Right.
friends of friends. I'm not usually doing it cold. I'm kind of, just kind of who do I know, or who do I know that would know more of those people.
Okay, so key learning here is to have a big network.
Yeah, or you can even have one, right? It's like I wouldn't say I actually know a lot of these companies that I'm going after. Usually, it's like I know one person that knows 100 of them.
Smart.
So I'm not really in this market yet, I wouldn't say. But getting there, like meeting a lot of people. That's also one reason that we did Scale or Die, which is the podcast that we launched, which is all around, all of our guests are typically, mid-market B2B SaaS companies. And so I'm trying to build relationships with them that way as well.
What brought you to actually the SaaS specifically? At what point did you recognize, okay, we have to play in SaaS now?
Because as we looked at our customer base, it was really hard to pin down, who we were going after. And a lot of these like SMBs in info marketing space, while good customers would churn a lot, would leave for the summer. It was kind of like the solopreneur. And as we built them, like our churn numbers would just be really high. And so I think we kind of decided, okay, we need to like probably go after a little bit bigger businesses here if we want to have churn lower. And then we probably just need to pick someone. And so I don't know if there's a huge reason why SaaS over e-commerce or over somebody else, other than we know SaaS. Obviously, we are SaaS. We've got a great network of SaaS companies in YC that we can work with. SaaS has some unique challenges to it, to personalizing a SaaS product, that a normal marketing site wouldn't have. And we just got to start somewhere. So we're kind of starting with SaaS, and may pivot, down the road into another market, but we feel like it's important to start somewhere and go really narrow initially.
Did you consider as well sort of like VIP lists? So actually agency, we will then sell, to SaaS at some point.
Yeah, we actually have a lot of agencies that use Proof. And so I think that is definitely, I think that would work too. Yeah, again, we kind of just picked, one because we said, SaaS seems cool. It seems like a specific market. We know these people, we are these people. Let's kind of start there.
Definitely a hot industry, so I guess that helps.
Yeah. And yeah, that's true. Like a really fast growing industry. I mean, SaaS is going to be just blowing up over the next 10 years. It gets easier and easier to build. So we want to be like ahead of the wave on that.
Okay. What are some of the other considerations that you had in mind when you go through all your sort of UX testing and then your customer testing? What's the next step?
So I think one thing we're trying to make sure we're asking is like, is the problem we're solving valuable, and how can we make it more valuable? So even like a question we've been having, this is a discussion we were kind of arguing and bantering through today, was we've got a new product called Smart Content that is kind of like the Netflix algorithm for your blog. So it hooks into your blog, and when the visitor comes to the site, we figure out who they are. We figure out what other visitors that have converted that they're similar to, and then we show you the content that is going to be best for you. So really cool, hooks into your blog, and kind of the person we're talking to there is more of like a content specialist, kind of an SEO person. It's a little bit more the user there. And we've been talking about which metrics should we surface and which metrics should we really highlight. And what some of the team has kind of thought and realized is that the content people, they care about metrics like click-through rate, time on site, views, things like that. They're a little bit more like content metrics. Whereas what I'm probably bigger on is leads, demos, revenue, closer to the money. And while I think both are valid, my opinion is that if we increase page views by 10%, that's worth, $100 a month, maybe. If we increase your trials by 10%, that might be worth, $10,000 a month. And so forcing ourselves, as we're hearing all these different things and hearing from people like what they think, trying to push ourselves to pick the most valuable of what they're telling us and like build that rather than just like any pain point that they have. Cause I don't want to be just a WordPress widget.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to be a personalization tool that is, as powerful as Optimizely and, easier for personalization than some of the big tools are.
Okay, makes sense. So what kind of company do you actually model as your, not target, but maybe more like role model kind of thing?
I mean, I think one example would be, kind of the A/B testing tools, the Optimizely's, the dynamic yields, Google Optimize. I think a lot of those are tools that, like Optimizely, for example, great company, great tool. One, their pricing went so far up; it's like 150 grand a year to start now. But two, I think that they are an experimentation. They're like an A/B testing tool that has kind of tacked on personalization. And I actually think it's really hard to use and really difficult to get like a real personalization plan up and running. And so what we're trying to do is build personalization from the ground up and like think about it from first principles. And I think we're going to come up with a lot better product for personalization than like an Optimizely, has. But we're definitely looking at like those kinds of like website augmentation products for, just ideas around how they do that.
Got it. So at the moment, you're basically having one product, which is your cash cow, should I say, and then you're trying to launch a second product. How does that translate in your company in terms of managing efforts and maybe the team? Maybe you can give us like a little bit of background about, the team size and how it came to grow and the culture
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. Because that's a lot of challenges where, in 2.5 years to grow to how many people now?
We have 15.
Yeah, so 15. So how did you go about, hiring them, um, training them maybe, and the culture that you wanted in place? How did you manage to go through all those challenges?
I think it's hard. I think it's been really hard adding on a second product and kind of everything that has meant. And I don't think I've done it. I haven't managed that real well. So we got up to probably, I don't know, probably somewhere around 14 or 15 a year ago. And we'd been trying to like get churn down on our social proof notifications product. And we'd been getting it down some, but really we were kind of running out of ideas. And we were just incrementally making churn better and better and better, making the product a little bit better and better and better. At the same time, we've got all these competitors flying out of nowhere, cloning our product. And it was just like, I felt like we weren't making the progress that we really needed to get escape velocity and really take this thing to the next level. I felt like we were kind of making like we needed a car, but we were just trying to make the horse faster and faster and faster.
Mm-hmm.
And like the horse was never going to become the car. And so we stopped and we kind of stepped back and we looked at it and we really had like an honest conversation. And we just decided like, we've been talking about like, when do we pivot or when do we maybe evolve is like the better word. And like, we need to do it now. And so we started like like putting more resources. We split off about 5 people from the team and said, hey, we need you to go start exploring this personalization space and figuring like what the tool is going to be there. And it definitely caused friction because I think the people that weren't doing that were kind of like, well, are we on the old product? And like, are we going to be, around in a year? Are we going to be let go? And, the new product people is kind of like the new cool thing.
People
Um,
management. Yeah.
yeah. And so that was a challenge. And then as we started to like see traction there, we started to, shift more resources over to the personalization product and getting that up and running. We'll still have people work on the social proof notifications and, fix bugs and, build out some new features and whatnot. More of the focus started shifting and people would we kind of had to split the company where, people were getting like really big on social proof notifications or really big on personalization. And it was like, guys, like this is all going the same place. Like, and like the people that are working on the other one, like you're working on the only product that we have. So like,
Yeah,
you're not getting fired. Quit thinking that.
yeah. It's hard
And
enough to hire people, so yeah.
yeah.
So
And
what's the split right now in terms of the proof versus the new product?
Right now, it's probably more 80% on the new product. Building that, we are going to rebuild all of social proof
Yeah.
notifications into the new product where they're going to be this like one unified product. Right now, they're a little bit disjointed.
Oh, I see. And in
So,
terms of revenue, how does that play?
well, and even just technically, they're actually like 2 different apps and 2 different code bases.
Yeah.
And so we're going to rebuild all of the old one into the new one where
Oh,
you can
wow.
like unlock all these different features and like it'll all just be one product, like one conversion platform with lots of different products that you could unlock. But yeah, right now, I mean, there's just so much work getting like a new product up and off the ground that we've got most of our resources building out the new one. And then, yeah, doing some on the other one right now.
And in terms of revenue, then the split is.
Oh yeah, I mean, almost all the revenue is social proof notifications right now.
So right now it's like 80-20 in both directions, like
Oh, yeah.
80% on resources, but only 20% of revenue. And then
Oh,
there's a
like
hope of tilting it.
notifications is probably like 98% of revenue, right now. So no,
It's a cash
way.
cow. Don't kill
Oh
it.
yeah, yeah, way more on notifications. Yeah, we're still early enough on in smart journeys and the personalization that, yeah,
So,
we're not charging a ton of people.
so what are your sort of like 3 tips for hiring new people in a company as you're growing? Because obviously the hiring happened as you were growing, right?
Yeah, I mean, people say it, but culture fit, is huge, and just finding people that you want to be around and you want to build with. I think we've had some really, really smart, talented people that are like really great on paper
Mm.
that haven't necessarily been as good of a culture fit, and that has broken down and caused like a lot of pain when that kind of breaks down. And so, hire people that you really get excited about working with, that share the vision, share the values, of the company. I think would be the first thing. Another tip is more about firing, but I think be quick to let people go, both for them and for you. It's like I think we've had people that we thought we should let go that we ended up having 2 months and months later that we should have just known up front. We should have just been quicker on that. Again, it's not their fault. It's probably more my fault. But I think being quick to do that is a huge, especially as you're listening to this, the person you're thinking of firing right now, like if someone popped into your head, you should just go like, let them go tomorrow. Because if someone's popping in your head, like on my team right now, no one's popping into my head. Like we've got, but I've had people for sure that like when I'm saying this on interviews, I'm thinking about them, and
Yeah.
I should have just let them go right when I started doing that. And I would have saved myself a ton of pain and a ton of problems across the team. And I think
Uh,
maybe another hiring tip would be hire people that have done the thing that you're wanting to do at another company.
mm,
And so don't just hire great generalists. So I think there's a place for that. I think like if you're trying to build something new, like I was talking to somebody at they run an email marketing, so similar to you, an email marketing company, and they were wanting to build out like a mid-market sales program, and they actually just hired somebody that ran the mid-market sales program at another email marketing company, and now they're like blowing up really, really quickly. And then they needed to solve the like deliverability issues that they were having, and so they hired somebody at a bigger company that worked on the delivery and got a lot of their delivery stuff fixed. And so it's like, I just think hire this person that has done the exact thing you're wanting to do before, and you'll probably get up to speed a lot quicker.
yeah, that makes a ton of sense. So I'm gonna use that as segue to, you mentioned also that you went to Dan Martel Group as well for mentorship. At what point did that come in the equation for you?
So Dan, I actually joined his before Y Combinator, like right as we were getting things
Okay.
off the ground. And I just needed some help. I wanted some mentorship around how to grow Proof. So Dan was kind of working with us like from the beginning to about 6 months in, heavily, before we got into Y Combinator. At that point, we kind of like started working with Y Combinator. And we're more
Hmm.
like ingrained there. But yeah, Dan helped us out a lot to that point.
Cool. So I got my history book reverted. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
fine enough. All
yeah.
right. So you obviously grew as a CEO, and you kind of had to learn on the go. What are some of the key learnings here? You would say.
I think one, we should have dealt with churn earlier, and I didn't see that. And we were just trying to grow, 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 grow. And all of a sudden we looked up 6 months in, and revenue was high, but churn was, 15% monthly, 18% monthly, just because we were building new features that helped us get more customers, but didn't necessarily make our current customers happier. And it's always the balance there. Like, which
Yep.
one do you focus on? In a way, what we did worked because I think it got us into Y Combinator, the fact that we grew, so fast. But at the same time, like, you build a product like that and people are just going to keep leaving out the back door. And so I think now we're focused way more on retention as our key metric, not MRR, not growth. It's retention. It's metrics around like how successful are our customers, not how successful are we. That's what we celebrate way more now. And we totally missed the ball on that. And we kind of just thought, we'll deal with churn later. But it'll come back to bite you if you don't really, really focus on it early on, I would say. That's probably the biggest mistake I've made, as CEO and like leading the team.
Love it. Anything else you learned?
So I think another key lesson that I've learned as CEO where I've done a bad job is not over communicating. And that's been a real surprise to me. Like I communicate, fairly well and quite a bit. I'm an outspoken guy. I'm extroverted. So I'm not just like coding in my own corner of the office all the time. But I think especially as we were transitioning strategy from kind of this one product to the next, I would say something. And then, if I didn't say it 20 more times, people would forget it. And, they'd come back and they'd say, oh, we don't know which product, we're really supposed to be, focused on here. And I'm like, I told you guys 3 months ago. And I just think that's just like a huge lesson. Something that's been surprising to me is just how much I need to communicate things, like a failing on my part as CEO. And again, that's my problem. It's not theirs. And so I just try to like repeat things over and over and over and over and over again. And I used to always think of these new answers and new ways to say things, whatever, but more now I'm just trying to like repeat the same thing over and over and try to like hold my ground on that rather than like trying to always think of these brand new things to say. So I think, just over communication on the team. Like every CEO I've talked to has like, again, you're nodding your head on that too. It's like, just like if I haven't said it at least 10 times, I haven't said it at all, basically.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's same for me as well. And also the number of different messages that is getting fired. Like, oh, I got something else to say. Probably wait a little bit and just focus on those three things I want to be, executed on.
Yeah. And also like trying to make sure that people understand the things I really care about and the things that are just kind of my opinions.
Yep.
Yeah. Because if I say anything in Slack, everyone thinks that it's like Dave really cares about this. And so what I've started doing more so is like letting them know. I'll kind of say, hey, I'll say whatever I'm trying to say, and I'll say, I really care a lot about this. This is really important to me. But then sometimes I'll be like, I'll look at someone's, landing page and I'll be like, hey, here's some of these ideas on this. Here's some of these on this. And I'll say, I'm holding those really open-handedly. Do them if you want. Also don't do them if you want. I don't really care, but here's what I would do. And just like letting them know that like not everything I say has to be done. 90% of the time, I'm just kind of giving my opinion here, and you probably know better than I do.
Yeah, so it has to come with a little disclaimer.
Oh yeah, tons of disclaimers. Yeah, just to help people know. Otherwise, I'm just sending all these different messages to people if I don't like let them know the few things I really care about, and then like a lot of the things I don't care about.
Okay, gonna switch gear a little bit. You mentioned quite a lot about focusing on the right metric. What kind of metric did you focus on at the beginning? Which one did you actually find were useful, and which one do you focus on now? You hinted to a few already.
Yeah, so we cared about MRR, and we had a little graph on our wall, and we would just we had this little song that we'd play every time we hit another $1,000 MRR. And we kind of dance around the office, and we'd set all of our goals. Like we set a goal that if we hit 50 grand MRR by a certain date, we would get a Tesla for like, we would just like have a company Tesla. And there was only like 6 of us in the office. So we kind of share this Tesla. We hit it and we got the Tesla, and it was just all around MRR and growth there. Now what we care a lot about is, retention. How many times is somebody logging into the product? How many times is somebody, setting up a new smart journey, for this new product there? We don't use NPS as much as we used to, but we use, a lot of people kind of call it the product market fit score, which is where you ask, people, how disappointed would you be if you could no longer use this product? And they answer, very disappointed, somewhat disappointed, or not disappointed. And kind of the thought is you want at least 40% of your customers to say very disappointed. So we'll ask our customers that a lot more now and track, how close we are to that 40% or above number. But a lot more of our metrics are around happiness and our customers using the product. Are they getting value out of the product? And not so much about, top of funnel metrics.
How does that translate in a day-to-day work and management?
I think we talk about our customers a lot more now. We talk about them. We talk well about them. At the beginning, we would talk about our customers sometimes like a nuisance. We'd kind of say, as we're answering support tickets, we'd be like, oh, this idiot can't figure out how to install a pixel on a Squarespace site. And it's like, this is like a real person that like is really wanting help in their business. And we told them that we have the solution, and then we built a crappy UI to do it. And so why am I talking bad about them? Like, they're just trying to get some help, for money that they are giving us. And so we kind of stopped that about a year in. We're like, hey, nobody else says anything bad about our customers. Like, our customers are smart, they're talented, they've got, dollars that they can move to whoever they want to. And we're going to do our best to help solve a problem for them and delight them. And so that was a big shift for us. And then now, just even like what we report on, it's customer obsessed, it's customer focused. It's, we highlight people in the company that, solve customer needs, rather than people that make a lot of money. And so just everything so much more is around the customer than it used to be. And it's really changed our whole culture over the last 2 years.
Do you have any tips or any hack for people who actually want to change their culture to a more customer focused culture?
So we had a few like tactical things we did. It was one, we kind of like, we reorganized our core values, and we made the number one core value be customer obsessed. So that's like, we got a big poster on the wall. That is number one. Another thing we did is we implemented a weekly award, and we called it the Jeff of the Week. And it was this little Jeff Bezos mug.
Oh, I see.
And it was for just because, he's kind of the Mr. Customer Obsessed champion. And the award every single week was for whoever obsessed over our customers the most. And we would all vote on it. And so like, that was the only way to get recognition at our company for 3 months. Not now you can win it for any one of our core values, but for 3 months, the only way to even get celebrated or anything was to like obsess over customers and delight them. And so that kind of like shifted the needle, where it was like, okay, like, it doesn't matter if you ship cool features, it doesn't matter if you, run a successful webinar or whatever, like, you have to delight customers. So that was a way that we like shifted, the conversation as well.
How did different departments, customer success and customer support had a lot more chances of doing that than, let's say, the marketing person or the coder. How did you actually translate that to the entire company then?
Yeah, it definitely would. I think the customer support people won it probably more frequently. But we had like a back end engineer win it, because, which is like the last person to like win a customer obsession award. But basically, some customers they had problems with their metrics, and he kind of went in and like fixed a ton of bugs like in the back end, and like rolled out these metrics. We had a few support tickets that were like, my metrics are all fixed, this is amazing, you guys are awesome. And like,
Nice.
that was all because of like him getting into Intercom and doing that. And that's another thing that we implemented as well, is these like weekly power hours, where everyone in our whole company does customer support now. And some people only do it for about an hour or two a week, but everybody's getting in there, answering tickets, talking to customers, getting on customer calls and all that. And so it brought these people that used to be really far away from the customer, like right up to them every single week. And that caused some like tension. Like, people didn't love that at the beginning, but honestly, after like doing it for 1 week, everyone loved it. And it became this really, really fun time for everybody to get together and do customer support together.
I love that. Do you have any other culture idea or culture thing that you're doing at Proof?
There's one thing that we do. I like watching college football, and what I notice a lot of teams do before they come onto the field is they like, hit some sign, or they touch some rock or some post before they walk onto the field. It's kind of supposed to like focus you in on that. So I saw that and I was like, we need that for our company. And so what we did was we built this little post. It's back there. You can see it behind me, but this little post that right when you walk in the front door, there's this little post that says customer obsessed on it. And then it has a bunch of our customers like pictures stapled to it. And there's a button at the top that you hit. It's a little blue button. You hit that. And then we have a little screen above it that says, be customer obsessed. We've recommitted to our customers X number of times. And every time you hit that, the number goes up by 1. I think it's at like 3,000 right now. And so I think the thought is just like, when you come in every day, like, think about the customers, hit the button, commit to building for them. And again, just kind of like refocuses you on like why we're here. It's not to make the shareholders money. It's not to do, a lot of different things. It's to like make the customers happy. And if we do that, all the other things will happen. So that's one little tactical thing that we did.
I love it. You're mentioning, investors. You guys are funded. How did that happen?
We raised a seed round at the end of Y Combinator. We raised about $2 million.
Is that seed? 2 million?
Yeah, seed round. Seed rounds are getting big out there. It used to be a Series A, and now it's a seed.
Mm.
It was like a small, it was like a small seed. I mean, we probably could have raised like 3 million and still been a seed.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Did you guys consider at some point going, you're all located into one place, is that correct? Did
Yeah.
you consider at some point just going like remote team instead?
Yeah. So we were in Annapolis, Maryland, and we thought about, we basically were like, okay, if we're going to live here, it's a small town. We need to either be remote or we need to move. And for us, the culture that we wanted was going to be a lot more in person. We wanted to just, like, we've got a basketball game tonight, in this league that a lot of people from Proof are in. We have people over to our houses for dinners. We're just, we're friends. We hang out on the weekends. We do a lot of that stuff. And I think we wanted that to be a part of the culture. And so we knew at least initially, we wanted to be in person. So we actually moved the whole company to Austin, Texas a year ago, because we knew we needed to like be in a bigger city for that.
So that's three family relocation.
What's
At
that?
what size did you actually relocate? Because you're 3 co-founders, right?
Yeah, 3 co-founders. We had 10 people at the time, and 8 of them came.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, we had a good amount of the company come. And yeah, I definitely think we'll be like a hybrid company at some point, where we have a big chunk here, but we'll be like very remote friendly. We just haven't built the company like that. And, we really like being around everybody right now, but we also think that remote is coming. Remote is a great thing for a lot of families, and we'll be able to accommodate that. But we also feel like there's a lot of power and energy around just like having our core, right here and all together.
Got it. Talking about co-founders, tell me a bit about the story about your co-founders. That's not your first business, is it?
Yeah, so actually we started working together. Well, there was kind of 2 of us in the foundation. They were my other 2 co-founders were building a company together, building like a little like physical therapy software.
Was that
While
your
I was building
accounting
my other
buddy?
thing.
Was that your
What's that?
Was that your accountability
Uh,
buddy?
they weren't now, because one of them did it before me. And so they were building that little software product. I was building mine. We were like in the same group of friends. And eventually we just kind of all ran out of money and started doing the marketing consulting together, because that was the only thing that was like picking up and making some money. One of them, JP, is a developer. And, we think there's a lot of power like in our friendship. We think that the 3 of us together is much stronger than the 3 of us apart. We get a lot of value out of that. And so I think at the beginning, the thought was, let's be friends, and then secondly, build a company together. And I think that's created just a lot of power, like a lot of strength. Like we raise our kids together. We've all had kind of kids throughout this, the last 5 years, which has been fun. Our wives are friends. We do barbecues on the weekend. Like we're just trying to like really help each other like grow in life. And I think that's like the most important thing for us, which turns out is a really great way to build a company, like a really strong base to build a company on. And I think our employees and our team knows that we're probably not going to self-destruct from like the co-founders hating each other. That definitely like could happen, but I don't think that's a real big risk for us, which I think provides a lot of safety for them. And we just know each other really well, which is cool. So there's a lot of like trust built there, between the 3 of us.
Dave, tell me a little bit about how you guys grew so fast. Is that all viral? Is that all word of mouth? Or did you actually guys put some things in place to help, fuel the growth?
So I think first of all, the product is kind of viral by nature, which I'm a huge fan of, is it was popping up on everyone's site. And so it just naturally everybody saw that. I think it's important to like build some sort of external feature, into your product, if you can. Not every product can do that, but you gotta intentionally think about those things, when you think about your product and like how to like build in some more virality. So we had that, which was nice. And then I think because of that, we just went to go find the like top 50 marketers like in the info marketing space. And we said, if these 50 people are using this, then everyone else will be using it too, because they're going to see and they're going to copy off of Amy Porterfield and Jeff Walker and, all these folks in that space, digital marketer. And so we just like really like made it a goal to go get all 50 of them. To do that, we didn't really know any of them. So I didn't know any of them. So what we did was we got 2 advisors on board through the foundation. So Andy Drish became one of the advisors. And then Chandler Bolt became one of the advisors. And basically the whole goal with them was I said, hey, I need your help to get these 50 people. And like, that's kind of like how you can earn your keep, you know, and earn your equity. And we gave them a little bit of equity to do that. And they helped us just kind of go get it on those 50 people site. And so all of a sudden, you know, I don't know, we probably got 47 of those people. All of a sudden, like everyone's using Proof. And not really, but just in that small little space, it looked like everyone was using Proof. And so as, you know, all these gurus, you know, influencers are using it, everybody else started using it as well. And it grew, you know, pretty quickly from there. That was kind of the main thing that I think really, really worked. If I kind of distill everything, you know, we ran a bunch of webinars. We ran a lot of Facebook ads. We did a lot of that stuff, but I think the biggest thing was that we just got the right people using it in a very small ecosystem. We're trying to do that again now, is we're trying to target, you know, the SaaS companies that are all in the same space, that all know each other. So all of a sudden, it's going to look like everyone is using Proof Smart Journeys, when in fact, you know, not everyone is. Maybe 100 companies will be. But if they're the right 100 companies, it's going to like take off really, really quickly, we think. So we're definitely trying to do that again.
Yeah, I was about to ask, effectively, now you're switching to SaaS, you know, who are those 50? Now you're going for 100, right? 100 SaaS companies.
Yeah. You know, it's like the space that we want to, you know, some of them are your guests, you know, but Profitwell and AppQs and Amplitude and Heap and Segment and, you know, companies like that, you know, they're all the companies that, you know, we're using, you know, ourselves. And a lot of them are like YC companies, are kind of tied to YC companies. We feel like if we can get those and kind of get that ecosystem, then we can be, you know, the main provider of personalization for anybody in that space.
So you're basically using the influencer type of approach in order to get your product up front. Now that's smart. How do you go about finding those 100 companies? I mean, what's the criteria here? Like people with, you know, a big audience through their blog, or how do you actually go about selecting?
A lot of them are just companies that we all like. So if we kind of sat around and listed out, you know, 100 companies that we really look up to and think have good marketing and all that, you know, a lot of that's gonna be the list. You know, so I think there's one. I think two, we look for people that like have success potential. So companies that we say, okay, if they were a customer, could we make them successful? And like, would we be excited about building features for them and all that? I think that's a huge one. But yeah, a lot of them are just, you know, B2B companies, you know, that we look up to and think that it would be really fun to work with. And I think that gives us like more energy to go after them and to serve them rather than a customer. You know, you ever get a customer that you're just not that excited about, you don't really want to build the features for them. It's like, that's hard, you know, so instead we want to find companies that like we're really, really excited about working with.
That's smart. Do you survey your team to figure out that list?
It just kind of happened. We just, it's just kind of like, you know, sitting around. We got a spreadsheet. People can like add, you know, people to it. It's really more the job of the marketing team. You know, I've kind of listed out a few criteria, you know, hey, they need to fall into these spaces here. I'd say it's less, it's more organic than that.
Got it. Okay, Dave, let's move to business books that you love, because I see a lot of books behind you. So are they all yours?
Let's see what we got back here. So the books I like the most. The first one I think of is Scaling Up. You know that book?
Okay.
Scaling Up, it's just all around, it's kind of a boring textbook. But we just decided we were going to implement that in our company because we got to the end of 1 year and we kind of looked at each other and we just said, we don't really want to do another year like this again. Things were too crazy. There was no systems, no structure. We were always late on stuff. We're always reminding each other of deadlines. It was just miserable. And so we kind of said, we need to do something different if we're going to really do this. And we just found this book, Scaling Up, and we just said, okay, we're going to apply everything in here for at least 90 days and see what happens. And it implemented something like the daily huddle, where you get together with your team and for 10 minutes every day, you talk about the key things going on. We implemented, you know, our first ever like quarterly retreats, and we implemented our first budgets. We implemented our first accountability charts and all these different things that were so corporate that we've been avoiding so long. And then we thought, wait a minute, like we're trying to become a corporation. Why am I avoiding all these things that they do? And so that was hugely helpful. So Scaling Up, massive, massive game changer for us. Let me see here.
That's your cheat sheet.
This is a great book.
Don't take the one under. Oh, that's it.
This is
Oh, I love it.
A Hard Thing
Yes,
About Hard Things. This is just a good book for any CEO to read.
love
Actually, I
it.
read this book and it kind of made me like a hard ass for a while. Like I kind of like swung too far and I was like, I'm just going to be a wartime CEO. And I think I kind of rubbed some people the wrong way from that. So maybe don't swing too hard on that. But basically the book is just, by Ben Horowitz of Andreessen Horowitz, just saying, you know what, like there's peacetime CEOs and wartime CEOs. I'm going to talk to you about how to operate as a wartime CEO and how to like work when stuff sucks. And I think for me, again, we went through a hard time, starting about 9 or 10 months ago, where it was just every day was kind of hard. And I think that book helped me kind of navigate through that really well.
Yeah, the introduction is really powerful.
Yeah. Highly recommend that. It's kind of a trendy pick. I feel like a lot of people would bring that book up. But it is a cool book and has definitely helped me.
Love it. Okay, Dave, if people want to know more about Proof or hit you, what should they do?
Yeah, either Twitter, Dave Rogenmoser, or email dave@useproof.com. Pretty available on there.
All right. Awesome. Well, Dave, thank you so much.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.